Hello, and welcome to the second part of my confession video, where I admit to every wrongdoing that I have done in the last couple of years in regards to a video game community on Twitter, and how I would bully them for no reason at all. And I want to confess to it all, and also subsequently apologize for it. I cannot keep silent about this anymore, and I might actually leave YouTube after making these videos. I know what people are gonna say, don't leave YouTube, I love your videos and whatnot. But when you look at everything that I admit to in these videos, you realize it's probably for the better if I just leave YouTube and live a private life, get a proper job, and just try and start things over again in the real world. If you haven't watched the first part of this series, I recommend that you watch it before you watch this video in order to get a much better understanding of everything that I admit to in this video and in the following videos that I make. I plan on having this be a 4-video series, and so this is part 2 of 4. With all of that said, let us proceed forward. So I entered the new year still frustrated over this stupid character making it into this fucking fighting game, and this admittedly really awful remaster of 3 of the greatest video games ever made. I should have been over this by late December, and instead I just kept on getting frustrated by it all throughout the beginning of 2022. I actively felt my relationship towards Disney declining gradually in early 2022. Because, Sora is from Kingdom Hearts, and Kingdom Hearts has a lot of Disney characters in it, and it just made me look at Disney in a very negative light, and it continued on going like this, even to this very day, even after I eventually apologized to everyone that I wronged. I still have this kind of off feel just thinking of or looking at anything Disney. I remember around I think it was February or so of 2022. I was bored one night and I tried watching Peter Pan, the original Peter Pan, and I remember I couldn't get 5 minutes, 10 minutes into the movie without just getting frustrated, because all I could think about was fucking Kingdom Hearts. All I could think about was this extremely unhealthy hatred that I had towards a game that I hadn't even played at the time. I tried rewatching it another night, I think the next night I tried rewatching it and I was able to finish it in full. I have to make this clear again that I have anger issues and I have a temper problem. I'm not saying any of this to excuse my behavior. I'm just saying this because it explains why I act the way that I act under certain circumstances. I'm not saying it as a defense, I'm not saying it as an excuse. And then one day in, I think it was March of 2022, an idea popped up in my head. I spent all this time hating on Kingdom Hearts, hating on this game that I had never even played before in my life, and it made me think, you know what, maybe I should actually play this game. Maybe I'm missing out on a true masterpiece. I don't know. Kingdom Hearts is frequently regarded as one of the greatest video games of all time, a landmark title for the 6th generation of gaming, an integral part of gaming in the early 2000s, and I was just over here blindly hating on it without actually playing it. Morbid curiosity got really fucking strong with me, and so I ended up buying the game. I went onto eBay and I bought the game. I think it's important for me to note that I do not own a PS3 or a PS4 or a PS5. I own a PS2. And that's why I ended up getting the original vanilla version of Kingdom Hearts and not the final mix version or any of the pretentiously titled word salad remasters or anything like that. If I recall, around that time, Kingdom Hearts, the whole franchise, would be released onto the Xbox Series X and the Nintendo Switch, and I ended up not getting either version. because they were both digital only and I wanted to own these games physically. For the case of the Nintendo Switch version specifically, I remember reading something that like apparently the Nintendo Switch versions of Kingdom Hearts are like really crappy. Like you have to be online in order to play them. You have to, have an internet connection in order to play them. I don't know. But from what I've heard, the Switch versions of Kingdom Hearts are complete and utter crap. And, given how the Xbox Series X is a much more powerful system than the Nintendo Switch, then I would, you'd think I would buy it on the Xbox, but I didn't because it's digital only. And I thought, for being such a famous, beloved gaming franchise, it didn't feel right to have them be digital only and not physical. And so I ended up buying the first game physically for the PS2. Very recently, I went ahead and I bought the Xbox Series X versions of the franchise. I have yet to actually play it though, but I have it in my possession, so there's that. Well, I don't have it in my possession because it's a digital game and it's not physical. You get what I mean. Now, I didn't just buy the first game. I also went ahead and I bought the second game also for the PS2 because I felt that confident that I would be like a big fan of the Kingdom Hearts games. And then one day, I went into my local GameStop and I saw they had Kingdom Hearts 3 in stock. And I decided, you know what, why the hell not? I might as well buy Kingdom Hearts 3. And there you have it. I had 3 installments of a franchise that I had never played before, and I was just blindly hating at the time. I know what people are gonna say, don't play only the numbered games, you gotta play all of the spin-off games as well, because you won't understand the lore, Don't play just the first, second, and third games. You also gotta play Birth by Sleep, and Dream Drop Distance, and 358 over 2 days, or whatever the f*** it's called. I get that. I understand that. Don't worry. The only one of these 3 games that I really spent any time playing was the first one. So the games arrive, and I pop in the first Kingdom Hearts, excited to see what kind of gaming masterpiece I would be getting into. I thought maybe I was harsh on the game, and it was actually a masterpiece, and it deserved all of the critical acclaim that it got. Mind you, I did all of this just because the main character of this game made it into Smash instead of my most wanted. It is a stupid, petty thing, and I'm embarrassed about it every single day, but I can't change it. I can't go back in time and prevent any of it from happening. I also cannot stay silent about it. Confessing everything is the right thing for me to do, even if people end up looking at me very differently as a result of it. So I end up playing the first Kingdom Hearts, expecting it to be a masterpiece. I spend hours playing the game. I'm pretty sure I spent like 10 hours of playtime on the first game. And, that's a lot of time. 10 hours is a lot of time for a game. So with the long playtime that I had on this game, combined with how famous and critically acclaimed this game is, it should only come as a surprise that I ended up hating the game. I thought that Kingdom Hearts was a bad game, except now I had actually played the game, so I felt confident and comfortable in saying Kingdom Hearts was a bad game, and I hated it. And surprise, surprise, many of the reasons as to why I hated the game were really stupid. Many of the reasons as to why I hated the game just chalked up to I was bad at the game, and that's it. I pulled the old classic excuse of, no, I'm not bad at the game is bad. But then there's also the fact that I failed to acknowledge at the time that I was playing a game that came out in 2002. This game had turned 20 years old when I played it for the first time. And I was over here criticizing a 20-year-old game. I had like modern day expectations for this game, I guess you could say. I expected this to be on the same level of quality as like a more recent game from like 2018 or 2019, instead of treating this like the 20-year-old 2002 video game that it was. A few months ago, I tried making an apology video where I went over everything that I got wrong about Kingdom Hearts, and I ended up only making one video for it. I didn't make any more videos because of the poor viewership that this video got. I figured I don't think there's anyone that watches my channel that cares about Kingdom Hearts, let alone the fact that I hated it for really poor reasons. I might actually bring it back though, just because again, it is the right thing to do. Go the extra mile when it comes to taking accountability, you know? The fact that I hated the game at the time only further fueled my rage over Sora making it in as the final DLC fighter. It made me even more infuriated at the way that Rockstar Games had been around that time, the way the GTA franchise was at the time. It made me even more frustrated. Around that time in early 2022, Rockstar announced that they were doing a subscription service for GTA Online called GTA Plus, and a lot of people got mad at it. A lot of people looked at it as just like, yeah, this is Rockstar wanting to make more money off of players instead of giving us what we wanted, which was GTA 6. The aforementioned PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X versions of Grand Theft Auto 5 were finally released in March of 2022 after 2 extremely embarrassing trailers. And guess what? They had little to no changes from the previous versions of the game. There were almost no differences between these versions of the game and the PS4 and Xbox One versions. There was 60 FPS and I guess GTA Plus. I don't know if GTA Plus is exclusive to the 9th gen versions or if the 8th gen versions have it as well. I don't know. But the bottom line is there was almost no reason to buy these versions of the game if you already owned the Xbox One or PS4 version. Going back to Kingdom Hearts, I played the game as much as I could, and then eventually I couldn't take it anymore. I hated this game at the time. Again, for really fucking stupid reasons, but I did hate it at the time. And there came a point where I was like, no, I'm done. I'm not playing any more of this garbage. I didn't know why people loved this game at the time. I hated this game so much that I ended up making several videos ranting about the game, going over why I thought it was a bad game. Throughout the summer of 2022, I ended up making 5 videos going over why I thought Kingdom Hearts was a bad game. All 5 of these videos, unsurprisingly, have very poor criticisms towards the game. Criticisms that could very easily be explained with either I'm bad at the game or the game was 20 years old at the time. It also further damaged the way that I looked at Disney as a studio, and that's something that I've just been thinking about non-stop in recent times while I was working on these confessions. I find it to be such an insane coincidence that after Sora joined Smash in late 2021, Disney's reputation would begin to take a massive nosedive, you know? You look at the MCU, it's post Sora joining Smash, more and more people began to notice the MCU wasn't as good as it was pre-Endgame. I think it was Thor Love and Thunder in July of 2022. That was what made people notice the MCU wasn't as good as it used to be. I don't know if Disney's Star Wars really counts for this, because I feel like Disney's Star Wars was hated before Sora joined Smash, but I can't help but feel that it became a lot more hated after Sora joined Smash. I've noticed, more recently, have I seen people say, Rise of Skywalker is a terrible movie, it's an awful movie, that sort of thing. It was probably considered a bad movie when it came out at first, but, nowadays it's, a unanimously hated movie. Likewise, the quality of Pixar's movies haven't been all that great post Cars 2, which came out all the way back in 2011, well over a decade before Sora joined Smash. But I feel like Pixar isn't as good as it used to be, became a lot more of a common opinion after Sora joined Smash when compared to beforehand, especially with movies like Turning Red or Lightyear that they really did feel like a downgrade from Pixar's older movies like The Incredibles and Up and whatever. Likewise, you have Disney's own animated movies, where many people began to notice the quality of them were not as good as they used to be, especially when compared to other animated movies from different animation studios that were of much higher quality, including Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse from 2018, as well as its then upcoming sequel Across the Spider-Verse in 2023, Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, and Guillermo del Toro's adaptation of Pinocchio, which were both released at the end of 2022. I remember coming across people in like late 2022, early 2023 that looked at the Mario movie as being like, oh yeah, that's better than like Disney and Pixar's modern day movies. The Mario movie is actually great, whereas Disney and Pixar's modern movies are very like generic movies, which is really funny to look at in retrospect. By far the most controversial of Disney's movies during this time were their live-action remakes. It was around this time when the backlash towards the live-action remakes would start to grow more and more and more. Obviously, not every movie that Disney has put out nowadays is a failure. You know, you have movies like Inside Out 2 and Deadpool and Wolverine and the Lilo and Stitch remake, and it's like, regardless of how you may feel about these movies, they are undeniably successful. But it's just crazy to me the large amount of box office failures that they've been putting out in the last couple of years, you know. Wish, Strange World, the Snow White remake, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, Lightyear, just to name a few, plus the many criticisms surrounding Disney that would come from tons of different sides, you know. Animation is cinema people, which we'll go over that very soon, don't you worry, you know. Anti-woke people, just like normal like film fans, animation fans, whatever. It's like every side virtually was criticizing Disney. Every side was criticizing the way that Disney was nowadays. And I was most certainly no exception to criticizing the current state of Disney. But I just find it to be such an insane fucking coincidence that like after Sora joined Smash, everything just kind of went downhill for Disney. Like that was it. It's like I caused this to happen. It's like my frustration towards this stupid character making it into this stupid fighting game was what caused Disney, the studio that owns this stupid character, to begin to crumble. It feels like at some point I unknowingly made a deal with the devil, where as a form of karma, as a form of revenge for not getting GTA and Smash, I get something else that would seemingly be just as satisfying to me. And that's Disney's downfall. Probably the last happy memory, the last good memory that I will ever have with Disney was going to Disney World around the early summer of 2022 for an end-of-the-year school field trip. I had a friend that was graduating from school that year, and he got to choose where to go for the end-of-the-year field trip, and he chose Disney World, and we ended up going. I remember we had to leave on the bus. It was like really fucking early in the morning. Like it was like still dark out, I'm pretty sure, when we left. And we left to Disney World. We got there around like early afternoon, I'm not sure. And we had a fun time together. It was a great time, and you know, I should cherish this memory. This is like something that I should cherish as like a perfect memory that I will never forget whatsoever. Except I somehow found a way to just ruin it. What should have been a perfect memory, and I somehow found a way to screw it up. The day that I went on this field trip to Disney World was also the day that I uploaded the first video in this Kingdom Hearts rant. I remember from my phone, I was uploading the video while we were like pulling up to Disney World, while we were getting to like really close to it. I thought it would have been funny at the time to do that. Make a video hating on a Disney game while I was pulling up to Disney World. I thought it was funny and epic at the time, and all it does is just like, it just ruined what was otherwise a perfect memory, and I have no one to blame for this but myself. Throughout the summer, I continued to make videos going over Kingdom Hearts and why I thought it was a bad game, and then after that, immediately, I made videos talking about GTA and how I felt about it. These videos have also been taken down, not because of their execution, not because of the things that I bring up in them. Unlike the Kingdom Hearts videos, the points that I make in these videos were actually like valid. I took them down just because of the intentions behind them. These were videos that were made with bad intentions. I made a video going over like my relationship with Rockstar Games and how I got into GTA. I made 3 videos going over GTA 5 and the rise and fall of it. Later on in November to December of 2022, I made a few videos on the GTA Trilogy remasters, that sort of thing. I'm sure if I go back to those videos, the points that I made surrounding GTA 5 being milked to death and the disastrous launch of the GTA Trilogy remasters, there's like valid, justified reasons as to why I was mad at them, but I've taken down these videos just because of the intentions behind them. And all the while, I was just continuing to get more and more crap from Rockstar Games and their parent company Take-Two Interactive. I forgot to mention this earlier, but at the end of 2021, I think Take-Two Interactive tried to like sue or send a DMCA or something like that, a copyright dispute, I don't know, towards that game that came out in late 2021, It Takes Two, because of the name. And all that did was just make me feel even more embarrassed about myself in a time where I already felt embarrassed enough as is. And then there's also the fact as well that I don't remember if it was Rockstar only or if it was Take-Two only or if it was both of them, I'm not sure. But there would be a lot of backlash within the GTA community because one of them, I think it was mainly Take-Two, they would take down a lot of mods relating to GTA. I'm pretty sure people made like mods for the original PS2 versions of the GTA trilogy with like actual improvements that are way better than what we got with the definitive edition, and these mods would end up getting taken down. I'm sure there were mods that did try to fix the definitive versions of the trilogy, and those got taken down as well. You know, there were probably like GTA 5 mods that were taken down. Just a lot of mods, a lot of like, you know, fan favorite mods for these games, they'd get taken down just like that. In early 2022, a lot of people began to notice something in regards to Red Dead Redemption 2, at the time believed to be the last good thing that Rockstar Games would give us, mainly regarding its online counterpart, Red Dead Online. Now, even though I love both the GTA 5 and Red Dead Redemption 2, I've never played their online counterparts, which I'd say is for the better, honestly. But a lot of people at the time began to notice how much attention Rockstar was giving to GTA Online when compared to Red Dead Online. The last major update event, I don't know, for Red Dead Online was around the summer of 2021, around July of 2021 if I remember correctly. And people began to get mad at Rockstar because of the way that they were treating Red Dead Online. It's like they were giving all of the attention to GTA and then completely ignoring Red Dead. And thus this began a massive Twitter hashtag, Save Red Dead Online, and ultimately it didn't go anywhere. On the 1-year anniversary of the last big update for Red Dead Online, a massive in-game funeral would be held for the game. And then, I don't know if this was before or after, but Rockstar would end up announcing that like the reason why they weren't releasing any more updates for Red Dead Online was because they were too busy focusing on GTA 6, which, I mean, okay, that's fair, I guess, but like, wouldn't it make sense if you did the same thing with GTA Online as well? I know that GTA Online is their cash cow. I know that it rakes them in far more money than Red Dead Online, but you know, still, it doesn't seem fair. It doesn't seem fair to end support for the more recent online service that is nowhere near as popular and never had the chance to grow, and never will now. So it wasn't even GTA fans that were mad at Rockstar during this time, it was also Red Dead fans. There's a lot of lessons that could be learned throughout these videos, one of which that I will give you right now is parasocial relationships are not exclusive to like YouTubers or celebrities or influencers or anything like that. It is possible to have a parasocial relationship with a franchise. It is possible to have a parasocial relationship with a corporation. It is possible to have a parasocial relationship with an entire idea. It is possible to have an idea in your head and then develop a parasocial relationship with it, even if it doesn't have a chance of ever happening in real life. And it is just as bad as having a parasocial relationship with like a celebrity or whatever. It's just as bad. There's no such thing as a good, healthy parasocial relationship. That's just impossible. You can't do it. You just can't. It's so ironic and hypocritical of me that like I make fun of Disney fans for being corporate bootlickers, and then I myself was a corporate bootlicker during this time with Rockstar Games. Just because GTA has made a more profound impact on my life than any Disney movie could, that doesn't mean I should have the same attitude towards Rockstar that Disney fans have towards Disney, where it's like, oh no, Rockstar can do no wrong, guys. Rockstar used to be good, that means they're still good now. Just failing to accept the reality of things. I'm sure most of you know, in September of 2022, the GTA 6 leaks happened. We got our first footage of Grand Theft Auto 6. Albeit it was leaked. Now you would think this would have made me at least a little bit excited. Just the idea that, yeah, GTA 6 is finally going to be a reality. We have our first proof, even if it's not official, we have proof that GTA 6 is a legitimate game. It is real. They are making GTA 6. But even this wasn't enough for me at the time. This wasn't enough. Back then, when Super Smash Bros. Ultimate was still actively getting new DLC fighters, I thought, you know what? I want to see both GTA and Smash, and I also want to see GTA 6 as well. And then after Smash Ultimate ended, and after the disastrous launch of the GTA Trilogy remasters, I thought to myself, you know what? I would rather have GTA and Smash over GTA 6. I would sacrifice GTA 6 if it meant that we got GTA and Smash. Because with how bad the GTA Trilogy remasters turned out, and not even just the GTA Trilogy remasters, but also just a lot of games that have come out in the 2020s, you know. You look at Cyberpunk when that launched, you look at like Balan Wonderworld, you know, it's like you look at these games and you just think like, okay, what makes me think GTA 6 is going to be exempt from this? What the hell makes me think it's going to be an exception to this? At least GTA and Smash, I know it's like there's no way they can f that up, whereas I could have very easily seen them up GTA 6 at the time. I know this is a little bit funny in retrospect, given the fact that, like, you know, we've seen GTA 6 officially now and it looks amazing, but I mean, like, you know, I'm sure Cyberpunk 2077 looked amazing during the pre-release trailers, and well, we all know how that turned out. So, you know, remember to stay cautiously optimistic, okay? I shouldn't have trust issues over GTA 6 being good or not, but the current state of gaming has made me very cautious about a game being good. Just because a game looks good from the trailers doesn't mean the final product will be good. The GTA 6 leaks were not enough to cheer me up. By this point, this was like near the 1-year anniversary of Sora joining Smash, almost an entire year, and this stupid thing was living in my head rent-free. And then I think around that same month, in September of 2022, I don't remember if this was before or after the GTA 6 leaks, but I ended up making a horrible mistake. And well, I made a lot of horrible mistakes throughout this whole thing, but here's one horrible mistake, one of the worst mistakes that I ever made. I made my frustrations public to the For Smash community, or at least whatever few members were still active after Sora joined Smash. If I recall correctly, the straw that broke the camel's back was, I believe, a developer for one of the early GTA games. I think the very first GTA game from 1997 posted concept art onto, like, I don't know where it was. I think it was concept art. I don't know. Maybe it was like a prototype. I'm not sure. But, like, I think an ex-developer of Rockstar posted, like, early concept art or something relating to the early development of the first GTA, and it was hit with a takedown from Take-Two Interactive. And once again, I was just frustrated by it, because at the time, I didn't know that Rockstar and Take-Two were not my friends. Corporations are not your friends. Because not once during this whole thing, I ever once thought to myself, maybe I should take a break from GTA and focus on other games instead. Because I never once thought to do that, I ended up throwing another f***ing tantrum, except this time, I made it worse, because I ended up adding several different For Smash accounts that were still active at the time. Naturally, most of them had no idea what the was going on. They had no idea what they had to do with any of the stuff that I was complaining about, and I tried treating this as me being a victim and them being like the villains that, like, oh, they caused all of this to happen. And this is when things get really bad for me. If I kept all of this to myself, that would have been one thing. The fact that I tried to start something, I got angry at these people over all of this, despite the fact that it was not their fault whatsoever. It's where it got really bad. This would not be the only time where I would go out of my way to make an ass out of myself in front of all of these people over stuff that was, like, out of their control, and it wasn't their fault at all, and they couldn't do anything about it, but I couldn't listen. My mentality was, I got mad at these people because they, quote-unquote, didn't give me help or support in 2021 when I got all of the stuff from Rockstar regarding GTA. I had this, like, woe is me attitude towards all of this. In another timeline, I could have either not been mad at any of this, or I could have been disappointed, but I could have went to them. Instead, I expected them to come to me, and I wish I could go back in time and prevent myself from doing it. Getting mad at every stupid thing Rockstar does is one thing, but as soon as I tried to get the For Smash community involved with this, that's where things went from bad to worse. Things got really ugly from then on, and it just somehow continued to get worse and worse and worse in so many different ways. After I added all of these people into my pity party for no reason at all, Doomsday happened. October 28th, 2022, Elon Musk officially buys Twitter. I am no longer the only antagonist in this story. I'm sure everyone watching this is very much familiar with Elon Musk and his many controversial changes to Twitter, and initially, it didn't seem like they were going to be a problem, for me at least, and then it didn't take long before they did become a problem. I managed to get in contact with a For Smash account who I will keep anonymous. I will only be referring to him as Michael. No, not because of GTA. I'm just calling him Michael. That is not his real name. Do not try looking for this account. Do not bother him about this whole thing. I'm sure he very much wants to forget about it. I finally did something that I should have done a long time ago and actually talk to a For Smash account myself. I go up to them instead of them going up to me. I don't remember how the conversation between the two of us started, but in my head I thought, finally I could vent out to an account and, tell them everything that I've been through and, get like advice from them. And things were very slow during that time. Michael, unlike me, actually had a life. He did things outside of Twitter at the time, and for some reason I couldn't comprehend that at all. And then everything went completely sideways on November 17th, 2022. That is a day that I will never forget, ever. I didn't spend much time on Twitter on that day. I was out doing stuff, and it wasn't until nighttime where I logged onto Twitter and I saw there were a lot of people posting, rest in peace Twitter, goodbye Twitter. I saw people sharing other social media accounts that they had. People talking about like Twitter was gonna die, that sort of thing. The first thing that I did upon hearing about this was get into an argument with Michael because he quote unquote didn't give me enough help in time. What ended up happening was, I guess Elon Musk laid off several different people on Twitter, and I guess like that affected the servers for the website, and it made people think like something bad was gonna happen to the website. It was gonna shut down. I don't know. But because of my temper issues, I got into an argument with Michael over something that again was not his fault. Once again, it came off as very woe is me. My life is more important. The world revolves around me. I'm the only thing in the world that matters. It was a really nasty argument between the two of us, and eventually it culminated with him blocking me, which was probably the smartest thing he could have done, but then it also meant I wouldn't be able to apologize to him very easily. At the time though, I didn't think about apologizing. I was just angry, frustrated over a lot of different things, over Elon Musk, over this concern that like anything could happen to Twitter now that Elon Musk owns it. I know that Elon Musk is a very controversial figure, and there's a lot of people that hate him for a lot of good reasons, and now you're about to find out the personal reasons why I hate him. I believe I've alluded to this before previously, like when I talk about that right-wing Twitter cartoon, The New Norm, this show that just glazes Elon and makes him out to be like an amazing person and whatever. And I go on about, him being a terrible person and just me hating the way that he's handled Twitter ever since he bought it. And now you're about to find out where all of that comes from. Now you're about to find out the fact that now I have to hear about him every fucking day because Elon was working with Trump early into his second presidency, and I know about the feud that happened recently. I wouldn't be surprised in the slightest if that ends up going away and it's like, oh, the two of them start working together again. I wouldn't be surprised in the slightest. I cringe every single time I see a Tesla or a Cybertruck out in public, and you're going to find out why. Nobody in my family will understand this. I hope everyone watching this will. So 2022 came to an end, and 2023 began. And if you thought I was a terrible person in 2022, you are not ready for the kind of person that I was in 2023. You're just not ready at all. God, it's gonna be hard to talk about, but I have to. I cannot stay silent about this. I just can't. Buckle up, folks. Things are about to get really ugly now.